wrong, baby, even after all this. Oh my God, I'm wasted. Hope it's just an intermission.
I'm Ezra. I make songs.
Ezra is an LA-based alternative pop artist originally hailing from New York City. His ever-evolving sound and unique approach to his art has set him apart from the crowd, taking him on multiple tours across the US, an appearance on The Radar, and even into being one half of his own band, Afterthought. Ezra just released his debut album, Spoke Too Soon, which came paired with a mockumentary that he put together telling the story behind the tracks. We had the pleasure to sit down with Ezra to chat about the album, the tour, and what's to come next.
So you've just released your debut album, Spoke Too Soon.
True.
And then you went on a 22-stop tour with Braden Bales. How have you found the feedback on the album, especially having seen everyone experience it live?
It was really crazy. I think it was the first tour I went on ever, not I think, I know it was, where I heard people fucking yelling the lyrics at me, and that was so hype. I really felt the love. Like, I didn't know what to expect. I hadn't performed any of these songs before, and to be able to see the ways people connected with them, being able to talk to people after, it was so humbling and so inspiring, and it gets me so excited to get back to work.
Yeah. Were there any tracks that you initially thought that they wouldn't perform as well, that like caught you by surprise?
Definitely Violet. I did not expect people to turn up that heavy for Violet, which was so hype. Like, I knew it was a high energy song, but that was awesome. Wasn't expecting people to sing along to a lot of the records the way they did. Like, Sober Cigarettes, people knew all the words to. Intermission, people knew all the words to. Like, even that second verse, which I was so proud of and I loved so much, like, 2016 was a while ago, people were yelling that shit. Got me really excited. Just, again, fucking humbling. It was so cool.
And as for the album, is there a moment or a feeling that led you to naming it Spoke Too Soon?
The whole thing, I mean, a lot of it is kind of just about my journey to getting where I'm at. And I think a lot of trial and error is thinking you have it figured out. A lot of life is thinking you have shit figured out, and then reality hits you in the fucking face really hard. And you realize maybe you don't have it figured out so much. So, like, whether it was, I don't know, thinking life's gonna be great and I can stay in situationship stuff, or whether it's having friends being like, you guys are going to be here forever, this is going to be awesome, and then they're gone. Family being like, oh, our relationship's great, this is what it's supposed to be, and then that gets turned on its ass. Like, relationships, anything, it's just like, I feel like maturity is realizing that you don't know anything ever, and that's kind of what this was about, just me constantly speaking too soon and thinking I had my life figured out when I was very far from it.
My personal favorite song on the album is I Wrote This the Night I Got Robbed, lol.
Whoa! Okay, that's a crazy pull.
I feel like the title kind of gives away the themes of the songs, but then it's kind of like pessimistic and optimistic at the same time.
Yeah.
What was like the thought process and the emotions behind writing that track that like led you into going to that direction? Because I feel like that's a really niche feeling.
Yeah, it was weird. I wasn't gonna go to the session. I forgot I had one. So the night before, obviously, I got robbed, and I realized it that day. I called my friend Coy, and I was like, yo, I think I left my stuff in your car. He's like, no, you didn't. And while we're on FaceTime, he just pulls up this, like, bent, like, barbed wire thing, whatever it's called, like, that somebody obviously used to break into the car with, and he's like, oh, shit. I was like, oh, my God. Because I went straight from a session to my friend's birthday party. We left everything in there. So my speakers, my Apollo, my computer, everything I owned was in that car. Gone. And that day I had a session with Pharaoh, the guy who produced Intermission, and this one, and he was like, in the intro, and he was like, you don't have to come, like, it's fine. And I was like, you know what, I'm so devastated right now. Like, I called like my best friends, like, fucking in tears, like, fuck, like, how am I about to go on this tour? Right before I went on tour in March with Braden, and I was like, how am I gonna do this? Fuck. And then I did. Wait, was this? I think it was after tour. I don't remember what I was trying to do, but I was trying to do something, and everything fumbled. But so I went to the studio, and I was feeling really down about it, but I'm like, I'm gonna make a banger. And the second I started writing, I was like, I love doing this so much. Like, I love making music. I love my life that I'm able to just get a paid-for Uber to a studio session at this. It was at studio. Pharaoh works out of the nicest studios, so I'm in there like I'm recording. Right across from me was DC the Don recording. I don't know if you know who that is, but he's like some like rapper, pop, punk guy,
Yeah.
whatever. He makes a lot of like cool stuff, but I don't think it's pop punk at all. But a lot of rapper stuff, and it was just a sick ass studio. And I'm like, I'm blessed. Life sucks right now, this current moment, but I'm blessed. And it led to this weird like, I'm fucking broke, but fuck it, like not a dollar in my pocket, but there ain't shit to complain about. Like, fuck
Yeah.
it, like I'm here for a reason, and I'm very happy that I'm here.
Fuck yeah, that's actually a really good answer.
So that was a great question. Yeah, I've never got asked that.
So you shared like most of the stories behind each of the songs from the album, but how did you like end up deciding on how to order them specifically in like telling a story through the album?
It was I think a combination of two. I wanted to make sure like sonically the songs blended into each other in a cool way, and then I got to a point where I had like 10 of the songs done, and I was like, okay, like there's pieces of the story missing. So it was part of the story missing was I felt like family stuff, like my relationship with my family. So that's when I made Just Like You, and that was like to cap like the sad section of the project. And then part of it missing was like this needs an end. Like it needs like an end where it's like, yeah, like shit sucks, but like the world keeps spinning, you know, which is why I made that outro. And I felt like it all just kind of happened seamlessly. Like I wanted to start with good vibes, good energy, you know, and middle ground was just that good vibes, you know, good. And then it also started with like kind of like feeling good in a relationship, which led to like longing the relationship, and then realizing you were a shithead in the relationship. Then it's like kind of like, I don't know, I wanted to have those two songs, Violet and Look So Good, felt like they needed to be paired together because it was like the two songs where I'm talking about somebody who makes me happy and makes me feel good, also in that like longing, yearning thing. And then went into the really sad parts, which I felt like Glass House was a cool like little in-between for that section. And Sachi played guitar in both Hourglass and Glass House, so they're in the same tuning. So I was like, let's line those two up one after the other. Gone to 20-something, I was like, we're not gonna get any sadder after that. And then, boom, ended it on like a fun one. It's like, then I got robbed, but it's like, fuck it, the world keeps spinning, you know? Like, felt like it all made sense, but saying it out loud is kind of sporadic, but whatever.
So did going into creating an album specifically change or impact like the usual process for songwriting, or did you end up like making these tracks completely separately without like knowing what you wanted to do, and then like realizing that this was a whole project?
I think it was like a combination of both. Like some of these songs were made before I even knew that I was making an album. Like Intermission, Hourglass, and Glass House. Well, really, Intermission and Glass House were made before, and I performed them on the tour. Well, not Hourglass, but I performed Intermission on the tour that I was on right before I started making the album, and then I was like, I need to lock the fuck in. And I was like, okay, I just dropped Glass House and it's streaming great for me. Let's make something like this. So we brought Sachi in again for another session, and Hourglass came out. And I was like, fuck. Like, this sounds nothing like Glass House. This is so not high energy, but like, this is sick. I'm gonna sleep on it and think on it. And like, I slept on it for a week, came back to it, and I was like, this is the best song I've ever made. And then I was like, okay, well, I need to figure out a way to blend this. And then it became me kind of figuring out the, no pun intended, the middle ground between like the hype songs and the slow, like peaceful, emotional songs. And originally it was gonna be 10 songs, then it was 14, then it was 13, and I felt like 12 was the sweet spot. Just sessions every day. It's like every fucking day I was going to the studio, making something with somebody, and coming home and listening to it. There's probably like 30 demos made for the project.
Okay, besides for being robbed, right, what is one of the moments where you felt like you hit a block in making this project? And like, how did you find a way to bounce back from that and get better?
So this is actually a crazy story. This was, I think, week 3 into the 4 weeks. All of March, every single day I was locking in with Steph, who's a producer for this project. But week 3 into the 4 weeks of making this project, I got there, I woke up and I was like, I hate it all. I was like, I hate this whole project. I don't like anything on it. I was just in a really dark headspace at the time. It was like, I got back from tour, and it's almost like I saw the finish line, but I was very worried that it wasn't going to lead me where I wanted to go. Mm-hmm. And I was just so anxious about it. It's like your first ever album, your first ever anything. It's just so scary. So I got there, and Steph looks at me, and he's like, are you okay? And I was like, yeah, like I just don't know how I feel about any of this. Like I feel like this is not good enough. I feel like I'm not at the point where I need to be. I'm listening to these songs and I'm not excited about it. I'm not. And we just talked for like the whole entire day, like 24 hours, like just on his balcony. We're smoking cigarettes, going back to like listening to music that made me feel happy and like chilling and listening to songs we made that I really enjoy. And I came back the next day like a little rejuvenated and feeling a lot better about everything. But I don't know what it was. Like it just hit me, and I'm glad I didn't listen to that voice in my head telling me that I was wrong, because deep down I did really love all the songs. It's just like you spend so much time with things that you've worked on, and like your brain just wants to hear new stuff. I'm hearing other things that I'm inspired by, and I'm like, fuck, it should be more like this, it should be more like this. The album is so all over the place sonic wise, like genre wise, that it was just kind of confusing me. But then once I sat down and like really took some time with it, I couldn't have been any other way for the way that I make music. It had to have been this way.
The mockumentary that you released was a really unique approach to promoting your music.
Thank you.
And attaching visuals and stories to each of the songs. What made you want to initially follow through with making that mockumentary?
So right when I had finished the track list for the project, or not even the track list, I knew what songs I wanted on it. It was these, and then this one song, The Region to Miss You, that I thought was going to make it, that didn't end up making it. But I went to Nashville for the weekend because my friend Tyler lives there, and we just kind of tripped shrooms for the weekend and hung out and talked about everything. And I was like, dude, I want to figure out a way to show my personality and who I am to the internet, because I would have meetings with labels, and my mentors would talk to me, and people that are further along in the industry or less further along, whatever, and they'd be like, dude, the internet sees you as a guy that makes good music, and that's cool, but like, you need to show them who you are, because you're hilarious, like you're a good guy, like you need to show your personality more. And it was very hard for me to break that third wall, and I tried it with like a couple skits and a couple weird things, and none of it felt authentic. It all felt corny and like trying to go viral, and I don't like that feeling. Like it feels like you're like selling out, you know? So I was like, there's got to be a way for me to do this. The Jew in me has always wanted to be a comedy writer. Like I feel like that's like the most classic Jewish thing to do in the entertainment industry. And David, one of my best friends, has been doing that for a very long time. He's an actor as well. He's very good at what he does, like the best. And I called him and I was like, yo, I got an idea. It's like, what if I made like an Office style, like mockumentary, like doc on the story of the album, and we write, like I had like a vision in my head of how I wanted the story to play out, and like in my notes it was very rough, and I sent it to him. He's like, all right, send me the album. I sent him the album, and he called me back like 4 hours later, and he's like, dude, this is gonna be fucking sick. Like we're gonna do this, and it's gonna be fucking awesome. And now it's so crazy seeing homies and people that I don't know that I'm just meeting like take inspiration from this whole mockumentary concept and be like, I want to do that. Can you help me do that? Like, I want to do this. And regardless of how big or small or whatever it was, it's like, it really changed my branding and my image on the internet. And I think it'll be something that I continue, hopefully for every release. There'll be some sort of, every big announcement I have, there'll be some sort of funny mockumentary style thing shot. And I think you're going to see a lot of people biting what I did on this project, which is cool. And feel free, take it, you know, it'll forever be my baby though, and I'm really, really proud of what we did with it, and I think, yeah, I couldn't have asked for a better team, and everything that came along with it has been fucking awesome.
What was that process like, just making the mockumentary in general?
It was long. It was a very long process. It was acting's a lot harder than I thought it would be, and it's also a lot like, more draining than I thought it was going to be. Like, I would get home after long days on set, 3 different locations, and be like, fuck, like, I am miserable. But that led to me and Braden starting to make music together, I think, a lot. It was like, I got home one day after set, and I was like, fuck, I miss making music. And Braden's like, let's make a song. And then we made that fucking stupid weed song that I threw on the internet that ended up going off, but it was like, a lot of me being so drained from doing the mockumentary stuff, which keep in mind I really do enjoy, but just not as much as making music. It just showed me where my heart is, and all this is for this, you know.
And you've mentioned Dexter being an inspiration for like certain scenes in your mockumentary.
Yeah, that's funny.
Were there any other inspirations or like visual references for any of the project?
We watched a lot of The Office. I just love the way that it's shot. Tires by Shane Gillis, the way that it's shot, where it's like random angles are kind of like being blocked by a bar or something, and like it's like very shaky and it's switching. We just took a lot of inspiration from shows like that where even if something serious is going on, it feels like you're like looking in on something that you shouldn't be seeing.
Mm-hmm.
Like it feels like you're almost like snooping as opposed to like, hey, Snoopy. Feels like you're like snooping on something as opposed to like it being filmed like a TV show or something. And then Dexter, I absolutely love. We took a lot of inspo from that with the way Braden's thing was shot too. The whole there's a whole therapy scene in Dexter where that was the whole vision I had for Braden's like therapist and Braden thing, was like it was gonna be very much giving that vibe from that show. But yeah, the whole scene of me, a lot of the inspo I took for a lot of things. When I was doing videos for Sober Cigarettes with like a chest mount camera looking at me, there was this one scene of Dexter where Harrison's really like absolutely on drugs crazy, and he has like a chest mount camera and it's like following him around and he's like looking. And, yeah, those really inspired me. I love Dexter. Okay, away from Dexter. Other things. Oh, I already said it. The Office, all that stuff. Yeah. I forgot. I'm talking on loop right now.
Yeah. Oh wait, are you doing Braden's like? Are you directing that as well, like Braden's tour stuff?
It's my tour stuff too, you know.
Both of you guys.
But yeah, I edit all of it. I do it all in Premiere. I'm like putting everything together. Cole shoots it all, then I edit it all, and then Cole color grades it, and Braden does the audio. But yeah, we write. The first 2 scripts were just written by just me and Braden, and then every other one was me, Braden, and the whole entire band on like long car rides. We would just chill and just write the scripts. It was like a lot of fun doing that together.
Now that you released the album and you finished the tour, what direction do you think that you're going to take your art in? So anything you're eyeing up.
It's really hard to say. I have a lot of ideas. I guess between me and you and whoever's watching this, I do have a kind of idea of where I want this next project to go, but it might totally change, so who knows. But my thoughts are, I want it to be like, this is gonna sound pretty counterintuitive, but like happy, sad. Like I want it to, like I wrote this song where it's a vocal sample of mine that continues to repeat, and it's like, wait for me, and then like the end of every fucking line is like you left me carrying the weight, don't act like it's easy to forget that it was you that had to leave, I'll always wish that it was me, your parents visited LA, we're moving forward and it's for the best, whatever. And it's like, they talk about how proud you'd be, said you're smiling looking down at me, and it's like kind of a take on something like Gone at 20 something, but from an angle where it's like, wait for me up there, like keep a seat warm for me, you know, like stuff like where it's like talking about a relationship where it's like, you always change me for the better, and even though things went wrong, like I learned so much from it. Like I want to take more of an angle where it's like, after hearing how much songs like Gone at 20 something and Just Like You impacted people for the good, and like I got some really, really incredible stories of how it saved people's entire lives and all this crazy things, and how they listened to that song and it changed their perspective. And it's like, I want to do that for everybody that I possibly can do that for, you know. Like if there's a way that I can help people through the songs I'm making, like that's like, people talk about imposter syndrome, and like it's hard to feel where if somebody tells me that my music helped them get through something, like it makes me feel like I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be, you know. And I want to do that for as many people as possible. So I mean, we'll see. When I'm making music, I feel like I kind of just let the vibes take me where it goes, but right now I feel like I want music to be therapeutic for the people that listen to it in the best way possible, and be okay with feeling emotions, but also from a perspective where it doesn't kill you. You know, it's like Gone at 20 something I wrote from so much pain, and you can hear that pain. I want to write from a happier place.
Fuck yeah, that's it. That is
Fuck yeah.
it.